Well, hello and welcome to the kitchen of the dollhouse. And here we're cooking up another reading of The Secret Language of Birthdays by Garrett Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for October 17th, the day of Precarious Balance. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of Precarious Balance. We have us an image of, what is it? Well, it looks like a pair of nunchucks, some kind of rope attached to like some sticks. So I don't know if nunchucks properly, but at least a pair that might belong to say like a troglodyte or a caveman, if you like. But you know what? Whatever it might be, not altogether important. Sometimes we can make a connotation as we get through with the reading why they chose that image, but like I said, not altogether important. What is important is it someone's birthday today. That's right. Is it October 17th and it's your birthday today? Well, if it is, I just want to wish you a happy birthday. That's what's important. That's right. But if this video finds you, I don't know, long or shortly after that day has already come and gone, I hope you had a happy birthday. That's right. But for everyone else joining us, I don't know, randomly or more ideally to celebrate the October 17th birthday, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before we dive in with the birthday redirect, let's roll some dice. This is the DykASSt, a birthday broadcast, so we like to live up to the namesake around these here parts and roll some dice. But we do so more specifically for synchronicity's sake. And we rolled us a 6 and a 2, 4 and 8. Oh, how about that? There's some synchronicity already I can see, and you'll see here later. And what is synchronicity, you might be wondering? Well, it's just you getting out into the world and letting the universe show you it's with you on your path. And you do that by following these numbers when you see them. Now, it's not... you don't have to follow the numbers I rolled you. You can get your own pair of dice and make that contract with the universe on your own. But the intention's there. But it probably is preferably your own set of dice. You want to ascribe number or directional values to number sets and time limits for how long to go in those directions. And once you reach the end of that time limit, though, you just stop, compose yourself, and you look for your signs. It could be your numbers popping up, say on a city bus that rolls by. So hop on, ride that for however long your dice tell you to. And then when you get off, who's to say? Maybe you find a building that's got your daily numbers in the address. And maybe, who's to say? It's a ninja shop and they're selling old-fashioned rope-attached sticks that pass for nunchucks on clearance. Who's to say? But it could be anything. It could just be you finding things that keep popping up continually. Take the pair of nunchucks, for instance. Maybe you start seeing old Michelangelo and Ninja Turtle Bob just painted on road signs or on walls, and it's just those things keep popping up. It's interesting once you really put your mind to it and have some an unspoken agreement with the universe. But in any event, I think you get the point. So get out there and see and feel the magic, if and you like. But if you don't, hey, at least you're getting your steps in. That's right. But hey, let's get on with the read, shall we? Your month is October. Your day is the 17th. Your sign is 22 to 25 degrees Libra of the Libra III period specifically. And your quality and element is Cardinal air. October 17th, the day of Precarious Balance. Like a cat, those born on October 17 usually manage to land on their feet. And no matter what difficulties or dangers they face, it is their balance above all which they strive to maintain. And this might be a simple matter were it not for the fact that they love to take chances. Instability may be their worst enemy, but most often it is of the self-induced variety. There are two distinct types of October 17th people. On the one hand, the quiet, seemingly stable kind who appear to have it all together. And on the other hand, the daredevils, whom life without risk-taking is dull and tedious. And some of these latter individuals may think nothing of taking life-threatening risks, attracted by the skill required to win at long odds. And other less extreme will nonetheless be gamblers of a kind, whether money, property, or even love are the stakes. And the more stable of October 17 people may enjoy a fairly settled life, but closer examination makes it apparent that they are often attracted to highly artistic, nervous, or unusual people who bring an element of uncertainty with them. Both October 17 types love drama and lively events, and the more stable ones as observers and the risk takers as participants. Now, October 17 people find it hard to change their ways, and they often fall victim to hubris, as if they put themselves above laws of ordinary human experience. Alas, they do make mistakes, the big ones in costly terms of finance or physical health. Yet on they go, resilient, confident that they can recover from setbacks or accidents no matter how major. And in this respect, they treat fate like a lover of long standing, or at the very least, an old friend. And perhaps they are up to this dangerous game, but they must particularly beware of all forms of self-deception. And most October 17 people are quite unrestrained when defining themselves and their talents. Thus, artists born on this day can incorporate the ideas of others in their work and make them their own. Masters at taking old or time-honored themes and reworking them, October 17 people are traditionalists, and no matter how modern or advanced their thinking, remain conservative in their basic approach to life. Caution, limitation, and detailed research based on experience are what enable them to take such apparent dangerous risks in so cavalier a fashion. On the other side, October 17 people generally act in a measured, considerate manner with their colleagues, friends, and family, but don't get their back up. Their tempers can explode when their authority is threatened or their intentions brought into question. And those born on this day feel that their judgment is excellent, and, well, it may be in most cases, but they may fail to recognize when they are headed in the wrong direction. A deeper self-knowledge is required, perhaps a more serious pursuit of spirituality, and for some October 17 people, a discarding of values tied to superficial excitement and glitter. Well, all right, pretty interesting birthday breakdown, I must say. But hey, what did I have to say about your breakdown direct? Let's dive in with some notes, a little bit of a commentary here. Like a cat, the reading said. October 17 people, they usually manage to land on their feet, as balance above all is what they strive for. It mentions two types of risk takers: the daredevil types who throw caution in the wind and avoid otherwise dull and tedious lifestyle, and the quiet, stable type who the reading claims enjoy a more settled life, but who bring about risk in their attraction to the likes of unusual people and a sort of gambling, it said. Now, some may argue that the latter type aren't necessarily risk takers, but I appreciate that the authors explain this, or at least examine it, I feel like. You stack an October 17th stable type up against a stable type of another birthday, and you're probably going to agree that there's a stark difference. So I'm glad they mentioned that. It's just hard to see the correlation when juxtaposed with the more common idea of a risk taker, I'd argue. Especially those born on this day. In any event, we've got here. That said, the reading also claims that regardless the type, it's hard for you to change your ways thanks to hubris and putting yourself above the laws of ordinary human experience. Not sure what that means exactly, but a similar idea is warned against with other Libras as well. So you aren't alone in that regard, assuming it applies anyhow. The same goes for this resilient ability to recover quickly, all right, which in a lot of cases is usually reserved for people who are ruled by Mercury. You're a Libra type, so you're ruled by Venus, so sometimes it's a bit of a surprise when they say that. It says you rework traditional ideas and those of others for new purposes, and perhaps importantly, caution. Show caution when it comes to your seeming approach to a cavalier lifestyle, which kind of neuters the idea of being a risk taker, I would argue. But got to flip the page here. You're still taking said risks, right? So, and that's no small feat, regardless of your preparation for as much. So, I'm not going to try to neuter it. It's just weird that they kind of like switch trains in the middle of what they were talking about. It seemed like. But there's only one other day that I can remember. And I looked for it in the book. I spent quite a bit of time skimming through to try to find it for you. I couldn't find it. But there's only one other day in the book I've come across where they actually prepare themselves for the risk taking. A lot of the other folks, they just jump right in. They don't prepare themselves. But regardless the caution they still encounter, they must guard against injury caused by as much. And they made mention of that in that other day. So I'm assuming they might drop in on that as we get in later with the birthday reading. In any event, that's been your breakdown. Let's dive in with your numbers and your planets. And here's where that synchronicity I mentioned comes in. A 6 and a 2 for an 8. Well, those born on the 17th day of the month are ruled by the number 8, as 1 plus 7 equals 8. And by the planet Saturn. Saturn carries with it a strong feeling of limitation and restriction, and also indicates a judgmental aspect as well, reinforcing the above-mentioned tendency of October 17th people to be self-righteous. The connection between Saturn and Venus, which is Libra's ruler, like I said, can trigger the darker, more discontented aspects of their personality, leading to all sorts of complications in their private lives. The number 8 also holds a conflict between the material and spiritual worlds, and those ruled by this number can be lonely and at times prone to indulge in excess. Well, all right. They personalize this one a little bit for you here. They didn't just drill down on the Saturn rulership. Sometimes they do that. They don't expand it much. But anyway, what I have to say about your numbers and your planets here. The number 8 in the constrictive planet Saturn opposed to the expansive planet Jupiter. For feelings, limitation, restriction, and a tendency towards self-righteous judgment. All right. I don't recall this being written before, though it may have, insofar as the number Saturn's concerned. Regardless, I say it stands as a good reason to consider the previously mentioned idea of self-awareness. That's right. The coupling with Venus suggests a discontent personality, as well as complicated private life. And if that isn't further concern for personal self-evaluation, well, I don't really know what is. But strangely, numbers and planets don't often drill down on such negative concerns. So, maybe take note. In any event, that's what I'd say about your numbers and your planets. So let's dive in with your tarot. One of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies, philosophies. But hey, we don't have to take it home with us and start dealing out cards for advice on our every decision. But let's see what it has to say. It's your birthday, so let's have some fun here. 17th card of the major arcana is the Star, which shows a beautiful naked girl under the stars pouring refreshing water on parched earth with one pitcher and reviving the stagnant water of ponds with another. And she represents the glories of earthly life, but also material slavery to it. And the stars above her are an eternal reminder of the presence of the spiritual world. October 17th, people then should always beware of excessive greed or lust for money and power, and above all, never forget the higher goals in life. All right, what I have to say about your tarot. They kind of personalize it by dropping your day in there, but by and large, it was a bit of a copy-paste job. So what I have to say here. A star, a beautiful naked girl, rejuvenating scorched earth and reviving stagnant water. With her own waters, right? The glories of life and slavery to it, warning of excessive greed and never forgetting higher goals. Don't know if this card really speaks to your risk-taking nature per se, but considering balance, precarious balance, the title there, which should probably be the watchword we focus on versus, risk-taking. I know, not nearly as fun, but there comes a day when it probably makes sense to reconcile our nature with our desires, sacrificing some of it so that we don't necessarily have to abandon all of it. All right? Balance. All right? So, self-awareness. That's right. You got to find that balance by doing the work. And that's what I argue kind of comes from this card. Because yeah, they didn't mention much about the risk taking, unless they're talking about the what do you call it, slavery to the physical world. I don't know. But in any event, that's been your tarot. So let's dive in with your health. All right, your health. An obvious health risk for many October 17 people is an attraction to danger and a lack of healthy fear. As far as accidents go, most in jeopardy are their back and internal organs. For some born on this day, sexually transmitted disease is a threat that demands careful precaution. Cultivation of culinary arts usually comes naturally to October 17 people as they enjoy expressing their flamboyance in the kitchen. Only moderate exercise is recommended here, particularly walking, swimming, and other low-impact activities. All right, one of the smallest health entries I believe I've seen, surprisingly. But what I have to say here, like the other day I mentioned, who like to take risks, but show caution with as much. Your risk is, as the reading claims, a lack of a healthy fear. All right, and I thought they might go this route, like I mentioned. Your back and internal organs are at the most risk somehow, which is suspicious to me, as these are the same areas of concern for other Libra folks who ostensibly don't take risks. Back, kidneys, and intestines are the body areas of concern for Libras. Like I said, even without risks, they warn you against, or they warn you to beware of those and to take care of them. They also often mention avoiding nicotine, alcohol, tobacco, sugar, your stimulants, drugs, addictive stuff. They mention it so often that it's almost anomalous that it's not mentioned here. So I just wanted to mention that for you too. What's unique, however, is they mention STIs. That's only been done maybe 2 other times, maybe 3, definitely 2. So maybe take note of that. Particularly promiscuous folks there. It's interesting. Your so-called risk is realized in this way. What about those precautions? You know what I'm saying? What else do I have to say here? They mentioned moderate exercise, all right, and a natural ability in the kitchen, which to me it either indicates an awareness of diet or a warning of what you consume. They didn't really say here. A lot of times they do when they mention that kind of stuff, so that's surprising they didn't do that. What else they got here? Oh, that's it. That's it for the health. So let's move on to your advice. Yeah, I had to write in the book with my notes and carry on, and I got a little bit twisted up there. You don't care. Let's get on with the advice. Don't push yourself so hard, all right? On the other hand, beware of smugness and self-satisfaction. Surrender occasionally and don't be afraid to admit your mistakes. Is your self-image that important to you? That's not me asking, that's in the book. All right, what I have to say here about your advice. Don't push yourself too hard, all right? Balance. Beware of smugness. Balance, all right? Nothing wrong with humility and modesty in my mind, and at least to me, all right? But take that for what it's worth. Maybe that's just something you are not in the position to want to do. It said you're flamboyant in the kitchen of all things, so I imagine when you carry over into your regular life, it's just as powerful. But yeah, like I said, modesty and humility. I know it isn't exciting, but maybe consider as much. What else do I have to say here? Is your imagination important to you? It asks. I'm not sure why they're asking that, but I'd argue more is done for your image by being modest than by being flamboyant. But that's arguable, all right, and probably dependent upon the kind of company you keep, all right? And but again, take all that for what it's worth. So that's been your advice. Let's take the energy down just a hair and dive in with your meditation. That's right. All right, are you ready? Everything has to be paid for sooner or later, even what is given away free. Interesting. All right, one more time. Everything has to be paid for sooner or later, even what is given away free. All right, that's your meditation. It's your birthday. I'm not going to break that down for you, throw some spin on it. That's for you to consider. All right, now that your meditation's in the can, as it were, let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. All right, your strengths: you're self-confident, you're resilient, and you're daring. But your weaknesses, let's do the work. All right, your weaknesses: you're overconfident, you're reckless, and you're stubborn. Oh, hey, you know what? All those things can be addressed with a little bit of self-awareness. That's right, a little bit of balance. So, hey, it's well within you to address those things, if you even see them as weaknesses. That's right. Okay, those are your strengths and weaknesses. And to round us out, let's dive in with those born on this day. And with those born on this day, I like to examine something that I find important, and that is figuring out our passions. You see, not only we get to find out who shares your company, who was born on the same day as you, we get to find out what they did to get put in the book, what they did to put their stamp on the cultural zeitgeist, if you like. But you know what? I find it's hard to figure those things out a lot of times. You know, I get out in the world and meet folks, and I ask them what they do, and a lot of time, and more importantly, if they like it, and a lot of times they don't. And who can blame them? You get out of school, you get into the first job you can grab. It might not have anything to do with an interest, but you got to get that money on the table so you can buy food and keep a house over your head. And you just don't have time to put into work to figure out what you like to do, what your passions are. And so I figure this is the perfect opportunity for those of you who are struggling to do as much to figure that out, or take some inspiration maybe. I know it's a hard ask, but hey, it's an opportunity nonetheless. So let's give it a shot here. And we start off with Arthur Miller, the Pulitzer Prize winning playwright, and wrote Death of a Salesman. We've got Evel Knievel, one of them risk takers there, Motorcycle Daredevil, numerous crashes, and countless fractures, it says. Montgomery Clift, the film actor, and survived horrendous car accident, it says. Rita Hayworth, the film actress. Cameron McIntosh, a British blockbuster musical show producer. We also have Of Cats in Les Miserables. I don't never how to say these French words. Jimmy Breslin, syndicated journalist and a writer. We have Sophia Hayden, the Chilean-American architect. We also have Paul Anderson, a U.S. Olympic gold medal-winning heavyweight weightlifter. We also have Bob Seagren, a U.S. Olympic gold medal pole vaulter. That might be the first one. Nathaniel West, a novelist of Miss Lonely Hearts. We also have Yasuki Kashiwagi, perhaps, or I think I said it the exact same. In any event, the Japanese Bank of Tokyo president. We also have Jean Arthur, film actress. Barney Kessel, a jazz guitarist. Doris Humphrey was a choreographer, dancer, and writer of The Art of Making Dancing. Margot Kidder, film actress. John Wilkes, the British demagogue and political agitator. We also have Jimmy Seals, the singer and songwriter of Seals and Craft fame. We also have Pierre Antoine Baudouin, French names again. Anyway, a French 18th century painter, Childe Hassam, an impressionist painter, and Simon Vestdijk, a Dutch novelist of Else Boler. Pronouncing all of these foreign things wrong today, so let's make up for that by doing a little butchering on our side. It's not done in malice, it's just hooked on phonics. Does it work for me with a lot of the foreign stuff? But hey, I can't get my tongue wrapped around it if you like. Any event, that's been those born on this day. Hopefully you found some inspiration to, I don't know, get out there and figure out your own passions. You know, you had playwrights, writers, daredevils, you know, those ones aren't commonly in here, so maybe take some risks. That's right. But any event, that about rounds out your birthday read, except to say your season is fall, your sign once again is Libra, of the Libra III period specifically, and your quality and element is Cardinal air. That's right. I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to double check. I get it wrong sometimes. And this has been The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for October 17th. The day of a precarious balance. Did I get that right? I don't have it open. Precarious Balance. That's right. Anyway, I got a affiliate link for this book down in the description if you're interested in picking up your own copy. If you like to dive in with astrology and all the other stuff about the zodiac, hey, it's all in here. And they got every other day of the year also, to include February 29th, the old leap year day. Anyway, it makes a great icebreaker if you can have company over, and if you get the hardcover in a literal fashion too. But that's not what's important here. What's important is it's your birthday, and so I want to wish you a happy birthday once again. And like I said, if it's late, hope you had a happy birthday. But for everyone else who joined us to celebrate, hey, once again, I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I hope you join us for your birthday reading. But lest we forget, your daily numbers, that's right, your 6 and your 2 for an 8. There's some synchronicity there. That doesn't always happen. I might just be grabbing these off screen, I know, but I'm not. There's no honesty or loyalty in that. Or the integrity. Hey, I'm a Marine, we got that integrity. We got to maintain it. Your 6 and your 2 for an 8. Once again, there, Daredevil, I hope you have a happy birthday, all right? Take care of yourself there.